The last and most major position, meaning there may be other positions, but the last and most major position of identifying Ad-Dajjal is that Ad-Dajjal is the man that Tamim ad-Dari radiallahu anhu met on the island. Famous hadith. Remember, this incident occurred after the conquering of Makkah al-Mukarramah. So this was one of the last hadith to have been related regarding Ad-Dajjal. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam congregated the people. When he congregated them, and this hadith is narrated by multiple companions like Fatima bint Qais, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and many of the companions. When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam congregated the people, he said Tamim ad-Dari. Ad-Dari is in reference to his tribe or the area he was from. That he was a man who accepted Islam. Which region was he from? He was from the Palestinian region, meaning what we know as Palestine, meaning Greater Syria. He was from the Levant, from that region, an Arab from those regions. Some say from the Lakham tribe maybe. But he accepted Islam. He ascended a boat, he took a boat. It must have been a ship, meaning because they sent smaller boats, which are referred to in the narration, smaller boats to descend onto this island. When they were lost in sea for a number of days, they found an island, and what is mentioned is qarib. I think the word is qarib, that they sent small boats onto the island to go and investigate what is on the island. Now, generally people, when they narrate the hadith, they only mention the one famous narration when he met Al-Jassasa, but they do not investigate the various narrations with different questions that Ad-Dajjal asked them. When they observed Al-Jassasa, Al-Jassasa is described as a creature that had hair on the front and the back. They could not distinguish between the front and back. This Al-Jassasa is from the Jinn, meaning a type of Jinn that was a deputy of Ad-Dajjal. Some people mistaken this for the Dabatul Ard. Some people even took this position. Some scholars, they thought Dabatul Ard in the end of times is Al-Jassasa. This is incorrect. Dabatul Ard is a good creature. Dabatul Ard, some of the translators, they end up translating Dabatul Ard as the beast. The correct translation of Dabatul Ard is the earth crawler, a creature that crawls on the earth that will appear from Safa mountain. That is the correct translation of Dabatul Ard. Al-Jassasa is a type of jinn. Now, Al-Jassasa, they saw Al-Jassasa, they questioned him, what are you? Because they had not seen anything of its type. Remember, they even amongst these books of Sihr, they have even the types of jinn, 70 types of jinn written down in these books of Sihr, that they tell you the different types and what activities they may do, meaning the different shayateen activities they may do. So when Tamim ad-Dari radiallahu anhu and his companions entered the island, one narration mentions that they entered a village and passed through a village, which many people do not point out. This shows that this was an island which had people dwelling in the island. Additional to that, another narration mentions that they were pointed. What was pointed out to them was a monastery. So this shows some type of religion in that place. And when they were directed towards the monastery, they entered. When they entered, they saw a man, a huge creature, meaning a human being. Ad-Dajjal is a human being, but they mention he had a huge body. This is why in some narrations, filmaniyun, meaning that word is used, meaning someone of a big body. He was tied up with over 70 chains, and whenever he would become angry, the chains would move. But the questions that he asked are of interest. He asked them regarding a watering source in modern day Jordan, whether it has dried or not. He asked them regarding Tiberias Lake, the Sea of Galilee. So the Sea of Galilee, known as Tabariya in Arabic. Tabariya is the western part of the Sea of Galilee. Likewise, he asked them regarding the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether he has defeated the Arabs and is he ruling them, have they obeyed him? And of course the companions answered all of these questions, that the Sea of Galilee is filled with water. Why is this question important? Because one of the signs of the defeat of a Dajjal is the emptying of the Sea of Galilee. This is why it relates to him. Meaning, when Ya'juj and Ma'juj appear, the Sea of Galilee will be empty or emptied at that time. And this is a sign of his defeat, the defeat of Dajjal. So it was important for him to know regarding the Sea of Galilee, are people drinking from the Sea of Galilee. This also shows us that he had no information, direct information regarding the world, except through al-Jassasa. Remember, at that time there was no Google that Jassasa could have checked on the smartphone the news. No. So any news, he was limited in the news that he could have. And this has great significance for today's day and age, that it's an age of information, that we have information at hand, and an age of espionage where spying is very common. So when he questioned them regarding this, some of the questions that he asked was regarding the Arabs. How do they live? Do they live in tents and simple living? They said yes. Why was this important? Because in the end of times, the Arabs will do away with the tents, they will do away with the simple living, and they will construct buildings, tall buildings. This relates to the other hadith, the hadith on the construction of tall buildings in the end of times, that when Arabs have left simple living and they construct tall buildings, which has happened in our lifetime, this is one of the signs of the appearance of a Dajjal. So these were some of the questions that he asked regarding how the Arabs live, because this is a significant sign regarding modernity. And the order of a Dajjal is that when it enters a civilization, it does away with the lifestyle of that civilization and brings in the lifestyle of the New World Order. So when the Europeans and other nations, when they entered different parts of the world, what did they do? They done away with the medicine of those people, meaning the natural medicines of the people of those countries. They done away with the housing style of those people, the way of attaining food, rizq, sustenance, and they brought in factories and other industrializing those places. But likewise, the significance of water, that when he asked about the water in Jordan, and he asked about the Lake Tiberias or the Sea of Galilee, this was important because this shows in the end of times, water shall be a rare commodity. That water shall become a rare commodity. One of the biggest projects that the UN and Western governments, and especially the Zionist state of Israel, have is water conservation. They fund these projects. Why? Because he who controls the water has complete power. And this is why the next war, the coming war, will be regarding two resources. One resource is gold, and the second resource is water. So these questions that Dajjal asked were important for the end of times, and also the civilization that will be established by the followers of Dajjal in the future. So when he asked these questions, Tamim ad-Dari radiallahu anhu and his companions, meaning there are more questions that were asked. They left. When they left, they went to Al-Madinah al-Munawwarah, accepted Islam, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had this event related to the companions alayhim ridwan, which further authenticates the narration and authenticates the incident that